Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of this video from Cottage Core by Morgan O'Brien, also a page from Annee Day. Now, I was a bit confused when I coloured yesterday and I did make a mistake here with this cushion because I looked up, I said to you I was going to have a look and see what this was and this was, and yeah, so I had a look at other people's versions of the page basically, and basically they coloured this as a whole cushion even though it seems to be sort of joined to her head here. So they coloured this as the rest of the cushion. I'm still not sure about that, but I guess it probably is. And then this is her headscarf, which is holding her ears, which are here. So we're going to make a few alterations, and I do apologise for those of you that coloured along and then this bit isn't quite right, but I'm going to show you how to change it and maybe that will be a useful thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab an eraser. Now this, ooh, no, apparently hit the tripod. Right, sorry. So this is a Tombow Mono eraser. It's a really good one for getting into little tiny spaces. It also doesn't tear the paper or do anything nasty like that. So we're just going to erase that bit there. Do make sure you're not scratching the metal bit on the paper. Now another good eraser is a Staedtler Mars plastic eraser. That one's also very good at not erasing too much of the paper. You need to be careful though, but there we go. Okay, now so this bit is ears, so we need the colours that we used here. What were they, I wonder? I think I used something and then I thought it was a bit too orangey, and then I used some grey. I think it might have been this. I'm going to have to guess. This is the 49. Oh, let's come in closer so you can see. Also, this bit being a headscarf, we can do that quite easily. There we go. Now, we've got 3 bits. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm just going to put a bit of this down all over like I did when I did her skin generally. I think I just did that, and then I got the 85. I know I went over it with the 85 because I didn't want it looking quite so orangey like that. And then scratch my head. Let's try the number 7. Let's use this one. Now I think maybe we'll make this bit down here a bit darker. And maybe this bit up here a bit darker. I'm not very good at imagining. Morgan O'Brien didn't have a version of this page on his Instagram, so I had to just look at how a few other people had done it. There we go. Now I'm thinking let's just move swiftly onto her headscarf or hairband, maybe that's what it is. Now I think it would be nice if it matched what she's wearing. She's got obviously her pink blouse and her jeans. I'm thinking let's go for a denim look. This is 63. I think it would look quite cool. So again, just a gentle layer, and then I'll decide where I think it might need to be a little bit darker. I think probably the bottom, to be honest, down here. And I'm thinking quite carefully now about what colour to do these cushions, because obviously I need to mask this colour that's here. Although I've sort of rubbed it back a bit, it's still there. So I need to think about that and what colour to just sort of do the sofa. I was going to do it blue, but obviously with the blue jeans it's probably not a good idea. And then I thought about orange, and then I wondered how much that would clash with her blouse. I want the cushions to match the sofa. We could go for some sort of reddish colours. Let me have a little look. We've got 27 is a red brown. Where are you? There. I'm going to use that colour for the actual sofa. What I will do is I will decide on the colour of the actual cushions, the scatter cushions, once I've done the sofa. So I'm going to use this 27. I'm just going to put a layer down. Now I did think that might be wallpaper. Did I colour it? I can't tell. So I'm just going to put down an initial layer of colour. I still haven't found a new sofa for me. Ours is getting quite old, tatty, it's broken, uncomfortable, all those things. I found a really, really nice one that had a storage drawer, 2 storage drawers underneath. It would fit, it was a good size. Unfortunately, the only 2 showrooms are in London, or you can go to the factory, which is way up north, and we're somewhere in between. So I was like, we want to be able to try it out. Now there looks like there's some sort of edging. I can't think of the word. Beading, maybe, is that the word? So I'm going to leave that, and then I might do that in a slightly different colour. I might leave it white even. Yeah, so it's not very practical to go that far, and with it being as expensive as it is, it's very expensive. It doesn't seem like a sensible idea. The alternative is just to get a regular one. We had thought about getting a high one that we could push some drawers on runners underneath, but I'm not sure how neat it's going to look, you know. You're going to be able to see that that's under there. So I have been thinking, and I just haven't really come up with an idea, I suppose. So no one's got the perfect thing. There's a few sofa beds with drawers under, but they don't look comfortable to sit on. But in a sense it might be useful to have a sofa bed, but on the other hand, if it makes your actual sofa really uncomfortable, maybe that's not such a good idea. Father-in-law has a sofa bed. I'm just thinking about his. I do find his terribly low and uncomfortable though. Both his sofas, only one's a sofa bed, so maybe that's no good. And it's odd because it feels lower than, I guess I'm used to sitting on a higher chair, because I don't really sit on the sofa. I sit on a desk chair, so maybe. See, I don't know if that's like a bulging bit of the cushion or whether we should leave that. Yeah. Lots of indecision in this picture. Just don't know how to colour a record. But anyway, I have looked, and I've just looked, and then I've got bored of looking. I just get so bored of shopping. It's yeah, I just don't find it at all interesting. I just want to grab and go. Do you know what I mean? Buy online, then just go to a shop. Even an art shop, I just walk around. Look, gone, done. You know, not that it doesn't excite me. Now, my husband loves shopping, but not for me. But anyway, although we went food shopping today, went for a nice walk along the canal, and then went to the shop, had to pick up a selection of things, and it was very pretty, lots of berries. So many berries, it's almost looking autumnal, although it's very hot. But yes, the promise of autumn. So it's good, I'm excited. I might get my autumn book out soon. I'm tempted. So anyway, yeah, so we were shopping, but yeah, he went off. He said, I'm going to go and see if they got this, or wander around and look at this. And I'm like, sure, I'll stand in the queue. Just not interested. Right, that's just a quick layer. It's not enough, but it's okay. Now, I still think that is part of the sofa, but it's just drawn in that light hand. I think I'm going to have to just, it's just worrying me. I'm going to grab the 43 and just colour that in there. There, now I've done that, I'm happy. Right, so let's have a little look at the sofa and think about where it's going to be darker. So I'm thinking here, for example, it's up against this cushion, but I still think all of this little bit will be a bit darker because it's sort of tucked inside. Same with this bit. And then this bit's sort of against her, so it'll be a bit darker in the cushion there. And then less there. And this bit's all sort of back. This is the back, isn't it? So it's going to be a bit darker. Like that. So just sort of layering up a little bit really. And in here. There we go. Now this bit's shaped, as you can see, obviously, and this bit's going to be dipped in here and around the button like that. You can see even it's drawn with the fabric looking like it's being pulled in, and then we can just fade off from here like that, but there might be a bit of shadow along there. And I'm just gonna go over it a tad to make it look a bit tidier. There we go. And then the same here. This is the bit that's, I think, dipped in there. And then it's a bit lighter along here. And there we go. Lighter here, a little bit darker at the bottom. I keep hearing my tumble dryer beeping. I'm going to have to go and sort it, or else it's driving me mad. Hang on. Right, I'm back now. That won't be annoying me anymore. I'm going to do this bit here. And again, a little bit more shadow where these items are. It looks like we've got a few bits here where the fabric is a little bit tighter. I'm just going to, oh, my microphone just fell off what it was clipped to. There we go, secure it a bit better. And then this bit, I want to be the sort of lightest bit because it's sort of facing us. I just need to make it look a little bit neater by putting another layer on. There we go. Now I'm wondering whether this is supposed to be, I think it's just a bit of tucked material. I don't think it's meant to be significantly dark or anything. Put a little bit of shadow around there. This isn't very neat. I'm just going to go over it again. It was warm in the kitchen where the tumble dryer's been on. Whew. We'll wash the sheets today though. Usually do it on a Sunday. It's actually Monday today. But I'm just going to go over this a little bit to make it look a bit more even. We got a bit, because we were out on Saturday, we did the towels, which we usually do. No, we usually do the towels on a Saturday, and we are out on Saturday, so we did them on Sunday. So we had to do the bedding today, because it takes quite a long time to dry, even in the dryer. So, yeah. And a bit not so sure about this cup, because it looks like it's supposed to be see-through, because we can see the tea bag in it, but we can't see the sofa through it. But we would be able to, so I'm gonna just do this. like that. That bit'll be D, just so it looks a bit more like you can see through it, even though we can't see that line. Right, we've got this arm to finish, haven't we? It's looking a little bit messy as well. There we go. And the same with this arm, just a little bit, maybe a bit darker here where that cushion is. There we go. And we'll just put a few lines on there like we did on the other one. Now I'm thinking maybe we can do the cushions in the colour that we do this beading, and maybe we'll do this sort of bit here on the cushions in this colour, just so that it all ties together as if they're all part of a set. There we go. My sofa came with throw cushion covers. I don't know if it came with the cushions, but then I've also got cushion covers which go with my curtains, so I'm never quite sure what to use. So now I'm going to consult my swatch chart. We'll look at it together. So this colour I just used was this 27, which is that colour, which is the red brown. So what do I now do for the cushions? And do I go darker? Do I go lighter? I'm tempted to go for the calming dark. I'm not sure if that's going to quite be or maybe, yeah, I think I'm going to go with the 29. Oops, just hit my pencil sharpener. It's the 29, here it is, 29. Oh, itchy arm. And for this bit I want to go in quite intense, so I'm going back and forth, like that. It's interesting, at lunchtime, I had lunch in between the two halves of this video actually. I asked my family what they imagined when they wanted to sort of think of the happy place, a place where they could think of if they got stressed. What would they think of? And my one son said, oh, just playing my computer games, that's what makes me feel not stressed. Okay. And my other son said, I don't need to do that. I don't get stressed, I don't need to do that. And my husband said, being in greenhouses, he named some specific ones that he'd been to that he found particularly good, and he said he can still visualise the plants that were in there. And I was like, oh, so I wonder if there are any locally to us that we could go to that would that he would enjoy. No, no, there aren't. I used to go to one in Scotland when I was a student up in Glasgow. There was a botanical gardens there in the West End. I used to go up there sometimes and look around the greenhouse, which was interesting. It got a bit hot, but it wasn't huge. But I mean, it wouldn't be worth going there just for that. You know, it's not massive. But if you're there, it's worth a look. You know. So yeah, I used to do that. So that was fun. And but he was thinking he hasn't. I think I might have taken him to that one, but he's thinking of the Wisley and Kew and places like that, big, well-known gardens. Probably, I think one's in Surrey, is it? One's in London. I think I've been to Wisley when I was a child, because I've got a photo. I think it's Wisley. Got a photo of my gran. It's really funny. She, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the top of that red with the 27 so that it looks like it's part of the same colour. I'm going to sharpen it and I'm just going to go over the top. So yes, it's a photograph that my dad took of his mother, and she was bending down picking a bit of lavender, which she really thought was very pretty, and basically to put in her handbag so she could try and grow a cutting. And of course you weren't allowed to pick the flowers, and so my dad took a photo So funny. She was of the, well, I won't miss this little bit. And it's like, well, no, but if everybody did it, they certainly would. Oh, she was cheeky. It's funny. I wonder who's got that photo. I guess my dad's got it, probably. It's a great, great picture. I must check where it was, whether it was at Wisley, whether it was somewhere else. But, oh, fantastic. It's, I don't remember it happening. You know, it's one of those things where I was too young, but when I looked at the photograph, you know, sometimes on a sort of afternoon when we had guests and there wasn't much to do, my mum would get out the photos to have a look at. And what colour's her record player? I think purple or pink. Let's go purple. We've got a lot of sort of pinky reds going on. I think though this colour, this is like a bluey purple, number 330. I think it's called, it's powder blue it's called. I'm going to use this. Yeah, my mum would get out the photos and we'd have a little look at them all. Right, she doesn't do that anymore. Would be interesting. She's got rid of a lot of her photos though. I mean, I know there were family photos where nobody knew who certain people were. No, here's a picture of I remember the famous one was, here's a picture of a child holding a fish that he's just caught. That I guess he was proud of. It didn't look particularly big, but what do I know about fishing? Nothing. And nobody knew who this child was. It was quite remarkable. Everybody that came, my aunt owned the picture. I think they got rid of it because they just didn't know who the child was. Everyone that came, do you know who's this child? Nobody. And my mum and my aunt were very good at recognising like their nieces and nephews and things like that. So, you know, they knew it wasn't any of them. They were thinking it was probably a cousin's child or a second cousin, you know, one of their great aunt or uncle's children's children, or, you know, it gets very confusing. Big family, confusing. Interestingly, my boys were telling me that my family was confusing when we saw our relatives at the weekend. Now, they're not a big family, they're not that confusing. It's my dad's family is confusing, but I guess compared to my husband. Now, my husband's got one brother, he's got 2 kids, and he's got six cousins, and between them they've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. So it's quite simple really. Whereas yeah, I've got nearly 40 cousins, 30, 40, I can't remember now, too many. And yeah, most of them have got children, not all of them, most of them. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, or 4. No, yes, I don't know. Some of them I can't keep up, I don't actually know. There we go. Now the switches, I think we might get a sort of, try and do a sort of silvery thing. I didn't really talk you through what I did. I think you could see I just went more intensely on the bits that I wanted to look like they were inside. So this is number 80. Okay, and what we're going to do with this arm is colour half that end and leave a sort of lighter bit in the middle. With this bit we're going to do it sort of diagonally. This bit about half, this bit lighter at the top, this bit lighter at the top. We'll colour in all of that bit. The switches, we're going to colour in these thin bits. And then we're going to go like that, and like that, like that, and like that. And it looks like maybe there's a bit of light catching some silver. I don't know. Now our record's got to be black. Most records are black. 9. I remember you got things called picture discs. Do you remember those? I've never seen one. I've just heard of them because they were much more expensive. And presumably they had some sort of picture printed on the vinyl, but I don't really know. But no, I didn't really own, I think I owned one record and I got it in, there was a sales shop was closing down and I bought an album. It was ABC. I can't remember what it was called. But normally I didn't have any records, I had tapes. Right, we're going to do that, go over again, because it should be quite dark. But it's we can't get a really dark saturated colour with these pencils, but we can saturate it a little bit more. Yeah, the first album I bought, I remember me and my sister didn't have enough money between us, and we asked my mum if she could give us a bit and help us, and she very reluctantly agreed, and we bought a-ha's Scoundrel Days album. Loved it. I listened to it reasonably recently. I enjoyed it. I remembered most of the words, but I had nearly worn the tape out. I'm trying to decide what colour to put on this circle of the record. I might just go for quite a light blue. What's this colour? 31. And I didn't buy many tapes. I had a few Pet Shop Boys tapes. I had Wet Wet Wets. Big fan of them. But I didn't really have the money. I'm going back to my black, number 9, to just do this bit. But I'm quite glad. And it sounds like, oh dear, you don't have the money. I'm quite glad I didn't really. And if I would have just spent it on stuff. Right, let's do this cup of tea. Now I'm thinking, I think we want a brown. I want to see like a green tea or a green tea. Yes, not right. Dark ochre. Is that the 19? Yeah, 19. Dark ochre. So I'm going to make it darker around the bits. That's on the outside of the cup, isn't it? Derpy. No. Sorry, I erase that back. What I am going to do is put a bit of green on top of there. I'm going to use the 57 to make it look a little bit greener, like a green tea. That's what I like to drink. No, I'd never put milk in a green tea, so it should look like it's sort of see-through. Now it just looks a bit icky. Ugh. That isn't what I wanted. Let's try this. Let's try a 17. We're going to run out of tooth on our paper before I can rescue it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the carpet and then come back and see whether that's okay or not. Oh, it looks so vile. Ugh, like pond water. So I think that is a record and that is a record. So I'm going to go back to my number 9. She's just tossed them on the floor. It's a bit naughty, isn't it? There we go. My niece has got a record player. They sort of come back into fashion, haven't they? Apparently the quality of records is far superior, but I think that would depend very much on your record player, your speakers, and how well you looked after the record, or how well it had been looked after if it's an old one, because they can be awful. Sound terrible if they're not well looked after, can't they? I think I'm going to do some pretty colours for these record covers, so I'm going to use a 23 here. I remember having one and the needle just jumped and scratched, and because there was a big bit of fluff on it. And my dad was always very careful about, he would wipe it clean with a cloth, and then he would use some sort of special cleaner on it before he actually played it, and sometimes it's still just nasty. I want a green. I think this green. I was just thinking, because we've got so much green going on up here, we'll just do a little green record. So 551 this is. There we go. And then this one, I was going to do it blue, but I don't think so. It's very close to this. Let's go for a light pink. Let's go for this one. This is the 21. Now I've got to decide on the carpet colour. Also, we've got these little gaps here and here. I think I'm going to do those the same colour as I did the background of the wallpaper. I think, let me just check my number. I have a feeling that was 50, but I can't remember for sure. I hope so. Just really light, wasn't it? Like that. There we go. I think that's worked. So we've got green. We do a green carpet. Might help the tea to look a bit less horrible. I'm going to try the May green. It's not called May green, this is 56. It's actually the light olive. Sorry, the May green is a polychromos pencil. You will know, I'm sure, or many of you will know. Now I'm wondering if that's the leg of the sofa and I've coloured it as a record. It is, isn't it? Oh dear. It's, I'm not having a good one, am I? Now, right, so I'm going to use my eraser to rub this back. It can be black. A leg of a sofa could be black. But I'm just going to, I want it to look a bit more red like the sofa. So I'm going to put the 27 on top and it will look reddish black. I'm going to sneeze. Right. That was a really, really, really loud sneeze. I suspect I made my husband, who's sitting the other side of the wall watching a film, probably made him jump. Right, let's deal with this tea. It's gross. And I'm going to try using a 76 to make it look like a regular black tea. I think that's better. It looks less like pond water, that's for sure. Now we need to do the little tea bag square thing, paper thing. We could leave it that sort of greeny, browny white colour, but I think I'm just going to run a bit of this over it. This is 222, I think it's salmon, and it might just brighten it just a little bit. Yeah, it's better. Okay, I think she is done now. There we go. Now some people do a whole background around the edge of these pages. I may have done it once or twice, but it's not something that I tend to do. I don't think it's necessary on this particular page really. No, I don't think I'm going to, but I'm quite happy with that. The only thing is, I think I'm going to put a little bit of shadow in. You know how I put a little bit under the mirror with this one, which was the 85? I'm also going to put a bit behind the sofa and then underneath it as well. I'm going to just put a bit more under here first, because it doesn't really show up that much. And then a little bit here, just to try and give it some separation from the wall, so you can see that you know, it's not just a flat image really. And then around the plant. There we go. And under here we've got lines drawn as if there's some shadow here anyway. You can just go over it. It just darken that carpet colour a little bit. Just around here. There we go. I'm going to leave it now. I think I've done enough. Yes, so as I say, find Amanda Colours on Instagram, and then you can put yours picture up if that's what you want to do onto Instagram, and you can tag her and her if you go find her, it'll tell you how to do it. You put a little hashtag in your description and you put an @ on it, and then she'll find it and she might share it on her stories, so that might be nice. So there we go, there she is, all done, having her chill on the sofa. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and happy colouring.